Good day. Let me continue with my series of my child in youth care journey in government. I ended off by sharing with you that where I worked at Bonington, that things really began to shift and change around for the boys who was there. We are now in a season and a time where we really began to apply child and youth care principles and practices, being more aware and being more direct, being more proactive, purpose-driven with the work that we do with the young boys. We began to implement stuff like behavior management strategies and programs, and it was different for each and every staff member more than what it was for children. We gave children a voice through meetings, through engaging them, planning holiday programs with them, not for them, but planning it with them, hearing what it is that they want to do for holidays. Then we also did some exciting things. We took boys on camps. They went to camp at different places. Personally, myself, took them on 2 camps with my wife. I was allowed to take my wife with me and my children go on a camp. I remember my wife was at one of the camps. My wife was pregnant with our second child. Went on 2 tours, one to the Northern Cape, the other one to as far as PE. It was really a time where we really allowed boys to express themselves. We had soccer, we had sports, activities for boys to participate in. Boys went to church in the community. If we, by filling in your admission, we could determine which church you would go to, and with the permission of your parents, if they can contact the leaders of the church that's in our area, which was Wynberg, that they can come and fetch the child at Bonington to take him to church. It was a time of really bringing essence to what development is all about. And the thing that really stood out for me was that all of us, including children and staff, was allowed to make mistakes. And what I always maintain is how management manage mistakes of staff. Now, I'm not talking about deliberate acts. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about where you do something and the outcome wasn't what you thought it should be, and you saw it as a mistake. That's how management dealt with that in a very developmental manner. That also allowed staff to become more creative, more bring the initiative to the fore, and also that flowed into the children as well. It was really an amazing time to be working at Bonington, so much so that because of the structure of our government was, is that there was one minister in the Colored Affairs team who was in charge of social welfare in the country. There wasn't provinces, there wasn't province, it was still under the old system. And people from different provinces, people from Gauteng, Johannesburg, that time was known as Transvaal, they used to come down and to see what's happening here. Eastern Cape people came from the Eastern Cape to come and see what is happening in at Bonington. Durban people wanted to come and see what it was that we were doing that was so exceptional. And it really gave Bonington and child and youth care work a very good name in what it is a child and youth care should be all about. It wasn't perfect, not at all. No. It was at all not perfect at that stage, but we were doing the right thing. Staff went for training. Staff was eager to go for training. 90% of the staff, they were eager for training. Other 10% were there, but they were just there because, if they don't go for training, they felt there was a sword hanging over their heads that if they don't go for training, then they're going to lose their job. It was never the case. It was a matter that you have to be trained to do the work. That's just basically what it is. What it was about, that you have to train to do the work. Fast forward, we had children playing. Later on, we began to play in the Western Province schools, sports structures, soccer. We played rugby. I'm telling you, the children used to go and play rugby against other schools, both outside schools going to play there. It was just an amazing time for children to be developing. On the other end, we still had the issues with children fighting amongst, which was normal, but it was dealt with in a much more developmental way. I remember that at one stage, we built a sand pit for the younger children, the ones from about 10 to 14. We are so young, yeah, 10 to 14. Those were mostly those ones who were there in terms of the children's court, CCI's, children's court inquiries. And we built a sand pit for them, and we bought toys, small little toys for them to play with. It was amazing how the children enjoyed playing with the toys, and then the older ones wanted to play with, because they in terms of their life that they lived, they skipped the developmental stage in their lives, and so they wanted to catch up, and they used to come and wanted to play with, and in some cases they asked for cars for them so they can also have cars. It was really an amazing time, and staff just became more and more confident in the work that we do, and I could see the turnaround in how staff applied the knowledge that they've gained through of the training that we have undergone. And it was an amazing time. But change was, again, there was another change coming at Bonitoon, and I will share that change with you in my next video. But it was a time of really making sure. I remember, as I must finish over this story, I remember that we the Minister of Social Development of Welfare, there was a guy called Chris April. I wonder if he's still alive. He was the minister, and he was so proud of what happened at Bonitoon. We had a competition one day, and he came to open the new look Bonitoon, because now at that stage we had a gym installed at Bonitoon. We had the names of the dormitories changed to all of the planet names. We had Pluto, Jupiter, Saturnus, and Mars. We had a competition, and I can remember that there's one boy that was at Bonitoon. He was in Pluto, and he designed art on the walls using wool. And the minister came in, he was so impressed with how this young man depicted art just by using wool and soap. And he made Table Mountain. It was a beautiful art piece of work that he did against the wall. And also the endeavor to make Bonitoon, his initiative, this boy's initiative, was to make Bonitoon a smoke-free environment. It was just an amazing time of how young boys could take ownership of where they were. And like I said, there was many times that children didn't want to go home. They did not want to go back to their families. They wanted to stay at Bonitoon. Even if they had to move on to the next phase, some of them were sentenced, they had to go to Ottery, or that time it was Porter School in Tukai, or some other places. They just wouldn't want to go. They wanted to stay at Bonitoon and finish whatever they had to because the environment that was created by both the staff and the management at Bonitoon, it was really an amazing time. And that was the time that all of us, staff at Bonitoon, flourished. And to remember that over the years we had intake of new staff coming in, and now we had a fully fledged orientation program for the staff before they even started to work. They didn't come there day one like I came and I had to start to work. No, they came in and they had about a 2-week orientation program. They ran through a 2-week orientation program. And part of that orientation program is a certain hours of them being there. They will be involved, but for the rest of it, they will be separated in order to be orientated around the work that we do. And that was also a great help. Sorry for the long video, but I was just so excited to share that with you. But like I say, there was another change that came to Bonitoon. See you in the next one.